This is Gus Summers, and you're watching In-Show Celebrities. This is the time I take every Monday to talk about some of my favorite films and actors. This week, we got legendary tough guy and Renaissance man, Mr. William Smith. This fine actor was not only known for his wonderful physique in Hollywood, but also his scholarly presence. Is a poet, a scholar, like I mentioned, and multilingual. There's so much depth to this man, his personal character, that when you see him on screen, you know there's more going on behind those eyes. Well, first up is a film that many of you have seen and is a character that he is well known for. He is the biker guy. He is the epitome of what we think the biker should be. This first film is Chrome and Hot Leather. In the beginning scenes, you see him riding around with his gang. He's wearing this great handlebar mustache, and he's, again, just what you think the biker should look like. This film starts off with his gang riding through the countryside, and this two young gals drive by, inadvertently trying to get away from them, knocks over one of his biker friends. He gets enraged and follows them and smashes their windshield with a chain and has them careen off the cliff. They end up dying from the car crash. And when you're watching all this, and when William Smith finds out what happened, you see him in this pensive state. He's thinking about what happened, and this is what I'm talking about. You would assume that biker guy wouldn't care, but you see that in this character that he does care, and he was going to tell the other biker to go down, see what he could do, but a car came and they all left to get away from the scene, and that's just the beginning. And then the story continues that one of the ladies in the car, young ladies, was engaged to be married, and her fiancé was a special forces army sergeant. He was portrayed by wonderful actor Tony Young. Yes, I think Tony Young fit the character perfect. He was tall, slender, dark hair. When you see him, you instantly recognize him, and he has that face of being strong and determined. Well, then the story goes out that he gets some of his other friends from the special forces and start going after the biker gang. Great film, you got to watch it. Just one last little tidbit about that. One of the young ladies, when you see her, you will recognize her. She will later go on to be one of our favorite angels in Charlie's Angels, Miss Cheryl Ladd. Yes, it was, I think, one of her first films, if not the first film that she was in. It was, it's great when you see a star in their early years and you go, hey, I know who they are. Fantastic. Oh, but adding that, I should also say, one of Tony Young's friends, his group, there was 4 friends, and one of them was his first and only film appearance, because he went on to a legendary status as a singer, Mr. Marvin Gaye. Yes, when you see him again, you're like, wow, look at that. That's great. I love when films are like that. You see them and you recognize all these wonderful stars in the beginning. Well, next up is another film. Again, biker films to William Smith are synonymous with each other. He was known for this type of roles, and I think it was him who established these wonderful characters. The next film, CeCe and Company. It stars one of football's greatest quarterbacks. That's right, Broadway Joe, Mr. Joe Namath. And the casting. One of the things I loved about this film was the casting. Here you have William Smith, huge, imposing, foreboding, as the leader of the biker gang. And here's Joe Namath, big guy, but he's got this softer side to him. So you have William Smith and you have Joe Namath, great opposing forces, and I think they just acted beautifully together. Well, just real quick, they what happens is in the beginning, Joe Namath helps this stranded motorist, and well, let me tell you who the stranded motorist is. It's the legendary and beautiful Ann-Margret. I think she was just beautiful in this movie. It's what we know her for. Just one of those beautiful actresses that just adds that extra, that feminine touch to a film. Well, Joe Namath is coming down the highway, and two of the gang members, or three, I believe, were in there trying to take advantage of Ann-Margret. Joe Nathan comes, he's the hero, stops them and says, she's my woman, beats them, they take off. He really does help her, and later on, they end up getting into a relationship. Well, when he leaves in the beginning and goes back with his gang, the gang members were telling William Smith what happened. And William Smith and Joe Namath are talking, and I don't know why, and the scene just always stood out to me, and it still does. You have to watch the film because Joe Namath ends up leaving, goes to find Ann-Margret. They're having a wonderful relationship, time together. William Smith comes, the gang, and of course, all hell breaks loose after that. So, but definitely a great film. Have to watch it. Bringing you forward a little bit. This is the first time I ever saw William Smith, and it's not even a film. It's a miniseries. Yes, I know all of you know what I'm talking about. Rich Man, Poor Man. Portrays the infamous Falcon Eddie. I think in the 70s, anyone who remembers Rich Man, Poor Man during that time, in film, there was the legendary bad guy who was the epitome of bad in feature films. It was Darth Vader. In television, anyone who thought of, could there be someone more cruel and evil? It's Falcon Eddie. I mean, for someone who is a scholar and a thinker to be portrayed as the bad guy, it's I believe it's amazing because it's again contradictory to who he is. But of course, we know the story. It's about the Jordache family, the Jordache brothers specifically. Rudy Jordache, portrayed wonderfully by Peter Strauss. Peter Strauss's character is it's part of an immigrant family whose father worked hard and tried to give something better to his family. And Peter Strauss is the schooler, the one who goes to school and studies and is going to make something of himself. And then he has an older brother, portrayed again wonderfully by Nick Nolte. He's Tom Jordache. He's the the streetwise, the hustler guy, the one who has to fight his way for everything. And of course, as all of you already know, it's Falcon Eddie and Tom Jordache, throughout the whole series that battle each other. Just fantastic. Again, it's the first time I saw William Smith. And I remember being a kid here in Los Angeles, and every Wednesday at 3:30, Rich Man, Poor Man would start. And no matter what I was doing, outside playing with friends or what have you, I would stop what I was doing, run inside or come to the television, turn it on, and watch this show. I mean, it was just a great series. The acting and everything, of course. Falcon Eddie, William Smith, fantastic. Bring you forward again to another film. This film was iconic for its time. I mean, they've tried to remake it, but it doesn't catch the same essence that it had. I'm talking about Red Dawn. This film had so many, aspiring actors, established actors. It was wonderful. We had, Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, C. Thomas Howell, Jennifer Grey, Leah Thompson. We had established actors, Harry Dean Stanton. I mean, this movie was just iconic for its time, and it brought in, so much talent together. As I'm just thinking about it, Ben Johnson is in it. Fantastic, Western actor, and of course, William Smith. He plays the Russian commander who comes in, you know, after the Russians have invaded America, and to, you know, take control of the town, take control of the area. And what's beautiful again is that when you know William Smith, you know that he is fluent in Russian. So here he is, this opposing character, you know, strong and hard and it's something that just fit him perfectly. I mean, it's wonderful. Again, all that depth that he has personally, he brings to the character, and it's not just this brooding tough guy, but this, you know, this character that you know there's more to him. When you look at him act, when you hear him speak, that he brings to that character that force. Him personally just comes through. One last film. It's, again, I know everyone's loves this film. It's called Any Which Way You Can. You know, it's the second one of a two-film series starring, yes, the legendary Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood plays Philo Bento. He's a bare-knuckle fighter that just, you know, fights on the side to, you know, to earn some money or have fun. But he's basically unbeatable. In the second one, they bring in the scrapper, someone who is equal, if not better, to Clint Eastwood's bare-knuckle fighter. Of course, we know that to be Mr. William Smith. It's wonderful a film. I like it because it's light. It's just a great film to watch. Be entertained, you know, with the fighting and the storyline. You know, there's a couple scenes that really stand out to me. You know, after, you know, William Smith kind of meets up with Clint Eastwood and they're running and he almost falls off the cliff and Clint Eastwood saves him. William Smith, you know, I owe you one. It's great. But then later they're in the bar and, you know, they're kind of talking and they're watching Sandra Locke sing and someone insults Sandra Locke and then Clint Eastwood steps up to defend her and then he gets into a fight. And then there's a guy who pulls out a knife and he's going to stab Clint Eastwood and William Smith sees him. And, you know, grabs the guy, you know, takes the knife, you know, just beats him. Now Clint Eastwood's watching him fight the way, you know, William Smith was watching Clint Eastwood fight. And they realize, you know, this could be a really brutal fight. You know, I think they realized each other that it would be basically to the end until no one can get up or, you know, what have you. And they basically, you know, just shake hands. And I love what they said. He says, you know, would love to have played squash with you. And it was, you know, these are scenes that, you know, I just find personally entertaining. But, you know, you have to watch the film. And, you know, a lot of great characters in that. Barry Corbin's in it. Jeffrey Lewis is in it. You know, all fantastic actors. Again, you know, these are just some of my favorite films. And, you know, he has such a wonderful, wonderful career. You know, he's done so much. And just on a personal note, I'd like to say that I had the opportunity to actually meet William Smith and kind of been connected with his family. But when I was speaking with him, what a nice guy. I was telling him, boy, you know, I remember this film and that film. And I was talking to the people around us. And I still had to say, he still has, you know, opposing and strong a character as I remembered him on film. But what a sweet man. We took some photos, and, you know, I just glad that I had the opportunity to do this filmography and talk about some of my favorite films about William Smith. Well, that's what we got for this week. Of course, remember to visit us at theinshow.com, where you'll be able to find the link to this program and everything else that we've done. And of course, don't forget to visit us every Thursday at theinshow.com from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, when I host the In Show, when I bring on, you know, guests and we just talk about, you know, their projects and whatever it is that they're doing. And of course, visit us every Monday here at the In Show, and where I have in-show celebrities, and I just talk about some of my favorite, of course, films and actors. Of course, don't forget to visit us on, you know, all Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Flickr, all those great social media sites. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, Gus has left the building.